fruits that got removed to Game Pass items, and even an old admin. These are 35 things that got removed from Blockstreams forever. And we're starting with something that only OG players will remember. Now, we all know about the Blockstreams gacha. The first time you see him is at the jungle, and when you get to level 50, you can talk to this NPC here and get a fruit. But what if I told you that he didn't used to always look like this? Back in the earlier updates of Blockstreams, he instead used to be called the Blockstreams Dealer Cousin. And even though he's in the same location here, he used to look completely different, as you guys can see. Now, Blockstreams Dealer Cousin does the exact same thing as the Blockstreams gacha. It's just the name and outfit are different. But I think we can all agree that the OG Blockstreams Dealer Cousin definitely has the better fit compared to Zeola's. Now, if you thought that was cool, then you're going to want to stick around in the video, because later on I expose one of the most insane things ever that got removed. But before we get into that, let's get into the second removed thing of the video, the worst fruit in the game. Now, players who recently joined the game during update 20 would recognize the worst fruit in the game as the rocket fruit. But OG players know that if the worst fruit in the game didn't used to be rocket, in fact rocket didn't even used to be in the game at all. What used to be in the game was this fruit right here, the kilo fruit. And basically, as the name implies, it allows you to increase your weight by kilos. It had 4 different moves: 10,000 kilograms, 20,000 kilograms, 50,000 kilograms, and light. As you can see here in this clip, every single move just basically launches you to the ground, apart from the final move, which was lighten, and all that move does is just basically make you fly. Now, we can all agree that the kilo fruit was definitely trash. I mean, the rocket fruit just looks way better, has much better visuals, and just overall dookies on that fruit. But being a player that was able to experience kilo, I definitely do miss it somewhat. But I completely understand why they had to remove it, which is due to copyright, because it was too similar to how it looked in One Piece. Now, chances are a lot of you probably knew about the kilo fruit being removed, but I can guarantee a lot of you don't know this next one. This is a poneglyph from One Piece, and this is a poneglyph in Blockstreams. Yes, you heard that right. Poneglyphs used to actually be in the game. Now, way back before I even started playing Blockstreams, there was actually 2 poneglyphs in Second Sea in 2 different locations. First one being right here in the Snow Mountain, and the second one being on the unnamed island by Graveyard. Now, no player actually knows the origin of these poneglyphs or what they actually even did in Blockstreams. In fact, the only footage I can even find on it is what you see right here from Official Newbie. Ultimately, though, the poneglyphs had to get removed due to copyright reasons, as it's just way too close to what we see in One Piece. But let me know down in the comments below what you thought the devs would have did with poneglyphs if they didn't have to remove it. Now, if you didn't know that, you're definitely not going to know about this next one, the rare artifact. Now, the rare artifact was something that got removed in update 11, so it's been gone for years. But how you used to obtain it is you used to have to fight the raid boss Darkbeard, and once you kill him, he has a 100% chance of dropping a rare artifact. And once you've obtained the rare artifact, you can use it to obtain things like dragon breath, kombucha, race changes, or even stat resets, which is honestly pretty cool. But there's a downside to that. To even get a Darkbeard to spawn, you need to get something called a Fist of Darkness. Let's say we finally get one to spawn Darkbeard and get the rare artifact, someone could just jump you right away and then you would lose it, because there was no way to store it, which is ultimately why I believe it got removed and replaced for a better system, which we know today as fragments. And for those of you boys who are going to make the argument that the rare artifact is technically not removed from the game since Kit Gaming has it, it says here on the wiki right here, this is not the same rare artifact Kit Gaming has. This one was removed a couple years ago. So yeah, it's been completely removed. Just like this next thing we're about to go over that I guarantee a lot of you don't know about. So we're all aware about Blockstreams' current PvP enable system. You have to be level 20 to even PvP at all, and if you were to die to a player, you get a 15-minute immunity pass unless you want to enable your PvP right away. But what if I used to tell you it didn't used to be like this at all? Back when the game first released, Blockstreams had no PvP immunity whatsoever. So level 1 players that would join the game would instantly get ganked by high-level players and get spawn killed, making them completely unable to progress, which honestly sounds like a nightmare, so I'm 100% glad that the Blockstreams devs removed that feature. But you know what I'm not happy about? The removal of the old menu system. So nowadays, when you join in on Blockstreams, you get to this loading screen, and then after that, you get to see the menu screen, which shows a pirate and a marine side. This looks pretty cool, right? But it looked even better before. This is how the menu looked back years ago. We can see for the most part it looks completely the same, except on the pirate side, it shows Buggy the Clown, which is a lot more accurate to One Piece, which unfortunately is why they removed it due to copyright. Which is not the biggest deal in the world, but I must say, I definitely do think the Buggy menu looked a lot cleaner. Speaking of clean, we all know about the ghost fruit this game, right? The visual effects on this thing just look absolutely fire. Like, look at this. These abilities are heat, but the ghost fruit didn't used to always be this clean, because this is what the fruit used to look like in the past. It used to be called the revived fruit, and it was based on Brook's fruit from One Piece. And as you can see here, yeah, the visual effects on this thing just look absolutely dookie. And not only did it get removed because it was super outdated, but it also got removed because, well, it was too similar to Brook's abilities in One Piece. But I think we can all agree that nobody used the revived fruit, and much more people used the ghost fruit. So I'd say it was definitely a good decision. Although it's kind of confusing that revive got removed for copyright, but the Sogotar didn't, as this looks almost exactly like how it looks when Brook used it in the anime. And on top of that, we still have Brook's Rockstar hat as well in the game, so I don't know how these two things didn't get removed, but I'm glad they stayed. Now, so far that was the second fruit we've talked about that's gotten removed. But would you be surprised to know that there are multiple other fruits that also got removed that we're going to be going over on later in the video? Before we get into those, let's talk about a change that I was actually sad to see go. The removal of the Game Pass boats. So on Blockstreams, there's a Game Pass that you could buy called Fast Boats, and it sells for 350 Robux. And it gives you the fastest boats in the game. Once you buy that Game Pass, you can talk to this NPC called a luxury boat dealer, and it gives you access to 4 different boats: Miracle Boat, Sentinel Boat, Guardian Boat, and Lantern Boat. However, before we had the Miracle and Sentinel Boat, it used to be the Speed Boat and the Enforcer Boat. Now, the Enforcer Boat in Blockstreams was actually based off of Porteous the Ace's boat in One Piece, and I think you can see why they got removed. I mean, this is literally a 1-to-1 carbon copy of Ace's boat in the anime. Despite that though, I'm still sad to see the Enforcer gone because I honestly thought it was way cooler than whatever this is here. But this next thing that got removed, I'm actually happy about. Now, we all know what the current fruit models in the game looks like. Whenever you pull out a fruit, you can see it actually looks pretty cool. Most fruits actually have moving animations to them as well. They're overall, like, honestly pretty creative. But this is what they used to look like. They used to be a lot more square and honestly just not really looking that good. But before that even, they also used to look like this. And this was the very first fruit models of how they looked when Blockstreams first came out. And honestly, if you ask me, I'm totally glad that they removed this and the second revision and decided to land on the current fruit models, because this just looks way better. Let's just be real. And speaking of things I'm glad they removed, this next feature I'm doubly glad they did. Blockstreams players now have the luxury of having an inventory to store their fruits, swords, and guns. But what if I told you there was a time where Blockstreams players didn't even have that? Back in the old day of Blockstreams, you couldn't store weapons and fruits in your inventory. What you had to use is what you see on the screen here, which are inventory chests. And there was actually 2 of them for 2 different things. The chest he's going into right here is known as a treasure inventory, where you had to store your fruits that you would trade into. Whenever you'd want to do a trade, you'd have to go in the chest to pull it out to do your trade. And the other chest you had to use to store your accessories, weapons, and guns. Now, this sounds like a good feature in theory, but imagine every time you want to trade or, switch PvP fruits, you would have to go back to the chest every single time. Yeah, I'm glad they made the decision to remove that. Unlike this next feature, which I'm actually kind of upset they removed. Now, long before I started playing Blockstreams, there used to be this feature that existed called Free Cam, and you could activate Free Cam by pressing Shift, Control, and P at the same time. What that would do is allow your screen to completely unlock from your character, and as you can see in this clip here, you could completely fly around the entire map. This could help with cinematic scenes, thumbnails, you name it, whether you're a YouTuber or a player. Sadly though, it was completely removed from the game, and if you tried doing it right now, it does completely nothing, and only admins have access for it. Devs, come here real quick. I need this feature back, devs. I need this feature back. Like, hear me? I need this feature back, bro. Everybody needs this feature. Moving on from that though, this next thing that got removed might actually surprise you. So we talked about the PvP system earlier being able to gank level 1 players. But what if I told you there was another feature that used to be in the game that also got removed with PvP? On Blockstreams, whenever you kill a player, you can get bounty from them up to 3 times every 3 days. What I mean by this is, let's say you beat someone 2 times, you get bounty twice for them, and the 3rd time you beat them, then any more times you guys 1v1, neither player will get bounty for the next 3 days. This didn't used to always be like this though, ladies and gentlemen. Back in the OG days of Blockstreams, there used to be no limit to how much bounty you could take from a player. Meaning, if you got the chance, you could actually take all of someone's bounty. The devs obviously quickly removed this by adding the 3 out of 3 system, and also made it to where if someone only has 2.5 million bounty, they lose nothing. So all y'all noobs out there, you can't say the devs didn't do anything to help you. Speaking of helping out players, this next feature that got removed did exactly that. As we all know, the human race's V3 is called Last Resort, and when you activate it, it allows you to do more damage the lower health you are, with a maximum of up to 52.5%. But did you know that in the old days of Blockstreams, it actually did something else? Back in the old days, whenever you'd use Last Resort, it would actually take your own health on top of giving you more damage. However, the Blockstreams devs removed this because it literally made humans so dookie to the point where nobody wanted to use it. Which definitely makes this a good feature that got removed, because I honestly would have never touched this race, ever. Now, we all know about the secret room under the cafe in Second C. If you go down in the basement of the cafe, we can see there's this room that says classified in, and you're not able to go inside of it, unless of course you decide to look in and flash step. And we can see this is the Toad room, otherwise known as the King Toad's room, as you can see by the sign right here. Now, if you look at the room in its current shape, you can see it's pretty much destroyed. Like, there's just stuff scattered around everywhere. There's like signs everywhere. There's just random stuff. However, the room didn't used to always be like this. A few years back, the room door used to be completely open, and as we can see, everything is fully organized. I mean, it was a nice looking room that you could get access to without having to glitch inside of it. So yeah, Blockstreams removed the old version of the room and replaced it with this. And I'm not too entirely sure why they decided to remove this, but you're gonna want to remember this King Toad's guy, because later on in the video, we have another thing that got removed that's tied in with him. But before we get into that, we're gonna talk about some more boats that got removed. So in the Second C, if you go outside a cafe and go up to the factory room, but instead of going inside it, go on top of it, there'll be an NPC behind it named Cyborg Frankie. And if you talk to him, he'll sell you the 1,000 Sunny ship in exchange for fragments. Or at least that's what he used to do, because they completely removed the 1,000 Sunny ship from the game. That wasn't really that bad of a loss. I mean, this ship was really slow and it kind of had low health, so I didn't use it regardless. But I want my fragments back, devs. I want my fragments back. Either that or a replacement for the ship. And while we're still on the topic of ships, there was also another one alongside the Sunny that also got removed. The Swan boat. This was a boat you could obtain in the Second C by defeating the Don Swan boss, and it had a 100% drop chance, so the moment you defeat him, you get the boat. Unfortunately, just like the 1,000 Sunny, it also got removed from the game due to copyright reasons. reasons. Just goes to show you just how far the devs are willing to go to avoid getting taken down by One Piece. And while we're on the topic of copyright, there is yet another thing that they removed to avoid it. So nowadays in Blockstreams, whenever you look at fruits, let's say for example, the pain fruit, you can see under the pain fruit, it's called a natural fruit. And there's also two other categories called elementals, and then there's also beasts. However, true One Piece fans know this is not what it's called in the anime whatsoever. In the anime, they are called paramecias, zones, or logias. And they used to be called this in Blockstreams as well, but of course, it got reverted to what we know today to avoid being taken down. This here is a chest, and this is a cursed chest in Blockstreams, something that was around temporarily for the Halloween event in 2023. And what these evil chests actually did is whenever you would touch them, they would spawn an NPC, which after you kill it would give you rewards. And the rewards you could get from killing the NPCs were either 4 to 8 bones, which had a guaranteed chance, and sometimes they even had a rare chance of dropping 10 minutes of 2 times EXP. This, however, obviously has been removed since the Halloween event ended, but I have a sneak feeling that they will add it back this year, considering we are literally like 20 days away from Halloween. But that wasn't the only Halloween related thing that got removed. In the third sea, whenever you teleport to the haunted ship, there will be a building, and if you go inside of it, there's an NPC named the Death King. What he allows you to do is get rewards by spinning the bones you get by killing skeletons or other NPCs that drop it. This NPC right now can only be found in the third sea at this area. But did you know that back in the day, he used to also appear in a spot in second sea and the first sea? And on top of that, they actually also removed something crazy from Death King. Back in the Halloween event in 2023, Death King had a small chance to be able to drop any random devil fruit. You also were able to do 20 spins within every 2-hour period, unlike the 10 that you're able to do now. I don't know why they decided to remove this feature. If you ask me, I think you should be able to permanently get fruits from Death King because right now he's kind of useless. Now this next feature, only OGs will remember. So nowadays, whenever you PvP someone in Blockstreams, there will be a PvP enabled text down below on your screen. What this means is players will be able to hit you no matter where you're at until you've been out of combat for over 30 seconds. However, this didn't used to be like that. Back a while ago, even while you were in combat, you could step inside the safe zone to completely disable the fight, which I am 100% glad Blockstreams devs removed this because imagine you're literally chasing someone for 10 minutes and then they just run into safe zone and fight's over. That would be dumb. You remember the revive fruit we talked about earlier? Well, there's actually another one that Blockstreams removed. The infamous door fruit. We now know it as the portal fruit in Blockstreams, but it used to be completely different back in the day, having 4 different moves called spinning door, dimensional door, door gateway, and hallway. Now gateway pretty much does the similar thing as what the portal C does right now. You can teleport to any island. It looks, a lot different now than it did back then though. And in terms of PvP and actual fighting, it doesn't really do good at that like how it does today. While it does still have attacking moves, they just do not compare to the new portal fruit whatsoever. Obviously the door fruit got removed due to copyright reasons as it's literally a 1-to-1 copy of the user Bluno from One Piece. Like just look at this. This is a straight 1-to-1 copy. I honestly commend Blockstreams how well they did the door fruit. And despite the fact that I do miss door fruit, I think the portal fruit is way better. I mean, just look at these abilities. They look way cooler. Like you can go in your own dimensions. You know what I'm saying? The abilities look cool and you could do this. You could not do this in door fruit. However, I think I can speak for the whole Blockstreams community when I say that losing door fruit definitely pains us all. And speaking of pain, for all you players that started playing before update 20, you would know that this fruit right here named the pain fruit didn't used to always be called this. It used to be called the paw fruit. Now, unlike some of these other fruits, this actually got no rework. It didn't get changed at all. It literally looks exactly the same as it did before. The only thing is the name paw is removed from the game forever, and now it's been named pain. Which to be honest, I think the pain name sounds a lot cooler than paw. Like it just gives off a more aggressive look, whereas paw just gives off like a, I don't know, friendly type vibe. But that is yet another change that they had to do in order to save the game from copyright. Now this next one, I know for a fact only OG players are going to know. Obviously, we know the game is called Blockstreams. This is the game we know and love and play every day. But did you know that it didn't used to always be called Blockstreams? Many years ago, the game actually used to be called Blox Peace, and this is what the logo looked like. Only players who got to play the game during release would really recognize this though, unless you heard it by another person, as the name Blox Peace quickly got changed to Blox Fruits to avoid copyright. Which if you ask me is a much better decision because Blox Fruits just sounds way better than Blox Peace. But I also don't really understand how the name Blox Peace could get them copyrighted when there's literally a game called a One Piece game. But hey, what do I know? Now another change that only OG players would remember has to do with the control fruit. So we obviously know whenever you activate the room and control, you get to use abilities. And the ability we're specifically looking out for here is the Gamma Rush. Now we can see when we use it here, it attacks one person and then it goes to an AoE attack and attacks everybody else in the room. You can see here when it ends, the room is still here. However, back in the day, whenever you would use Gamma Rush, you can see it makes the room significantly smaller, and what's more, after the Gamma Rush ended, it would completely make the room disappear. I have no clue why they decided to change and revert it, but I also support it because control is one of my favorite fruits in the game, and if I had to reactivate room anytime I use Gamma Rush, I'd actually be upset. Now, another thing that got removed in Blockstreams is the North Pole Island. Well, kinda. Now, of course, if you go in third sea, it'll still be there, except interestingly enough, it's not an island that you can directly teleport to. In order to get it the fastest way, you need to teleport to Chocolate Land, and there it'll be right there, the North Pole. Now, while this island is still here in third sea, it used to be in second and first sea, but it got removed completely from there. And along with the North Pole, there was also 2 things that got removed as well. One of which was the Christmas gift event. Basically how it would work is every hour you'd meet up in this circle in the middle of the island, a big present would fall on the ground, and when you'd open it, you'd get a fruit. This, however, got completely removed and it is no longer in the game. But who knows, maybe we'll see it return again this year. Now, aside from the gift box event, there was also another thing that disappeared, the Santa Claus NPC. There used to be an NPC named Santa Claus that would be right here during the event, and he actually sold 3 different things that you could buy: the elf hat, Santa hat, and coolest of all, the sleigh, a custom boat that is no longer obtainable. Obviously, when Santa Claus disappeared, all 3 of these items became unobtainable as well with him, meaning for any accounts that already have all these items, you have it unobtainable. But I hope for my sake, it comes back this year because I don't have any of those exclusive items, and I also don't have the sleigh, which I really want to get. Now, this next thing was something I was really sad to see go, but there was no other choice. About a year ago, there was an insane glitch that had to do with the spirit fruit that almost everyone was abusing. What I'm talking about, of course, is the spirit speed glitch, a glitch like everybody a year ago was abusing. Now, how this works is you need to have 2 permanent fruits, one of them being permanent spirit and another one. And what you do is you summon the little spirit homies specifically on the blue side to get the speed boost, and then once you've summoned all of them and got the speed boost, quickly switch over to a permanent fruit, which will make it so where the speed boost stays even though you're no longer on spirit. The crazy thing about it is it's stackable, so it allowed you to go to crazy speeds like this. And if you did it even more, anti-cheat would start kicking in, and you may even get kicked from the game. I loved abusing this glitch in my free time. I never actually used it in PvP. That'd be crazy, but sadly, I can't do it anymore. Moving on to the next thing though, we're gonna be talking about the love fruit. We obviously know how the fruit is now. It has abilities being able to summon arrows like this, big stun abilities like this, and even the ability to summon your own besto friend. Like you can literally summon a guy to 2v1 enemies with. Look at this. And as fire as this didn't used to even be in the game at all a year ago. The love fruit used to be completely different, having 4 different abilities. And as you guys can see right here, based off of the effects, it doesn't look that good. Now, in terms of PvP, I actually think the old version may have been better because all of the moves have crazy stuns to it. But in my opinion, I much prefer the new version. And fun fact, the old version of love is technically not completely removed from the game, as the boss Island Empress still uses the old version of love, as you can see there. Now, another cool thing that got removed is the Valentine Event shop. Here's what it looked like when the event was here on the castle on the sea. This is what the NPC looked like, and whenever you would talk to them, they'd have a shop full of different items like fruits, race rerolls, 2x EXP, and sometimes even fragments. If you look down below, how you would purchase them is there was a heart system. Basically, how it worked is any NPC you killed near your level will drop a certain amount of hearts, and the more you grinded, the more you could use towards buying fruits from the shop. Shop would also reset every once in a while and recycle new things and fruits in there, so new players would be able to grind and get good fruits. But sadly, that event got removed, and I'm not sure when it'll come back, as we didn't get it this year. Well, we also didn't get a single update in 2024 at all, but I highly doubt that it'll come back in 2025. And now for the last fruit that was removed in Blockstreams. Any player that started playing after 2022 would recognize this as the spider fruit, and they'd know nothing else about it. But it didn't used to actually be called the spider fruit. It used to be called the string fruit. And similar to the paw fruit, none of the abilities actually changed. I mean, as far as awakening goes, all of the abilities remain the same. And I think the V1 slightly changed. Other than that, this was an insignificant change just to avoid copyright. 5 more things that got removed, ladies and gentlemen, and I guarantee these last 5, a lot of you never knew existed. For example, in the cafe, if you go over to the right on this table here, there's an NPC named Tor. And if you talk to him, he'll allow you to reset your race in exchange for 3,000 fragments. But Torp used to be someone completely different. He used to be called Norp, and his avatar was drastically different than it is right now. Like, this is how he looks before, and this is how Tort looks. Honestly, if you ask me, Tort is lacking the drip. Norp on top. Don't really know why Norp got removed. I honestly couldn't tell you, but yeah, he's gone forever. Just like this next thing that's gone forever, or I hope not. Now, this is a bit of a goofy one, but I don't know if any of y'all have realized, but all of the sea captains or sea NPCs have lost their pants. Like, I don't know what's going on, but like, look at this. This is the first sea captain that takes you to second sea. If we go over to dock 3, we can see this guy, Mr. Captain, has his pants. Yes, but once we go into third sea, we can see the experienced captain is also missing his pants. I don't know what happened. It was a glitch that removed their pants, but it's been like this for almost a year now, and they haven't gotten them back. This next thing that got removed, I think less than 5% of y'all knew about. So normally in Blockstreams, when you complete a fruit grade, you get teleported to this room, and if you talk to this mysterious entity, he awakens your abilities. But what if I told you this used to be Wenlock Toad over Heaven? Yes, this used to be the old NPC that would awaken your abilities. And if you guys remember what I said earlier about the green toad room, this is the guy that used to live there. And as for why he got removed, apparently he did something he wasn't supposed to and got removed from the admin team. So yeah, that's literally an admin that got removed from Blockstreams. Now this next thing isn't something super crazy, but it's also pretty cool. The DS code. Now many of you players may not even know what this is. In fact, I didn't even know what this is like 10 minutes ago, but this is called the Diamond Syndicate Mystic coat, a coat that was given out as an award for a 2019 tournament hosted by this guy named E as a reward. This coat is currently completely unobtainable, and I believe only admin and certain special accounts have it. But despite that this is an unobtainable item, I also don't think it's really worth it, because if we look at the stats, it's pretty bad. 5% damage, 200 energy, and 200 health. That is like a horrible accessory. Nevertheless though, it got removed. And now the final thing that's gotten removed from Blockstreams forever, and this one is insane. There used to be a glitch in Blockstreams that would teleport you to a world called the Pillar World. And this was a world that used to be only obtainable by admins. However, back in the early updates of the game, you can see some players found a way to glitch in there. What's interesting about this place is once you're in there, there would be no way to get out. Even if you were to reset or leave the game and join that same server, you would still be in the Pillar World. The only way to escape it would be to join a completely different server. This glitch is honestly insane because they're literally in an admin only area that they found a way to glitch into it. Sadly, this was completely removed from the game and this isn't even accessible anymore. I don't even think by admins. There you have it though, ladies and gentlemen. That is every major thing that Blockstreams has ever removed, at least according to my knowledge. Let me know which one was your favorite and comment down which one you missed the most.